The bass from downstairs rattles through my bones as I press my swollen belly against the bathroom sink. Another Friday night, another one of Brandon's networking parties, turning our home into his personal nightclub. Through the mirror, I catch my reflection, 7 months pregnant and relegated to hiding in my own bathroom while strangers occupy every inch of our house. Adeline? Brandon's voice carries over the music as he raps on the door. Hey, babe, we need the guest bathroom. Can you wrap it up? I grip the counter's edge. This is our master bathroom, Brandon. The one attached to our bedroom? Yeah, about that. He clears his throat. Lucas and Danielle had a bit too much to drink. I told them they could crash in our room tonight. The baby kicks, as if sharing my indignation. Where exactly am I supposed to sleep? The kitchen's pretty quiet. Maybe grab the air mattress from the garage? His voice holds that familiar note of dismissal, the one that says he's already walking away. Already done with this conversation. I unlock the door and find him halfway down the hallway, designer shirt perfectly pressed, not a hair out of place. I'm 7 months pregnant with your child. He turns, flashing that smile that once made my heart skip. Now it just makes my stomach turn. Come on, Addie. These people are important for my career. One night won't kill you. Like the one night last week? Or the one before that? My voice cracks. When did our home become your personal venue? Don't start this again. He checks his phone, thumb scrolling rapidly. Oh, perfect timing. Just posted about my pregnant wife resting peacefully upstairs while I host a small gathering for colleagues. The sympathy likes are rolling in. Something snaps inside me. You're using my pregnancy for social media clout? It's called personal branding, babe. Everyone loves a family man. He winks and heads downstairs, leaving me standing in the hallway as strangers laugh and drink in my living room. I press my hand against the wall to steady myself, feeling the vibrations of the music pulse through the house. The perfect husband, the perfect host, the perfect social media presence, that's Brandon's reality. My reality is being pushed aside, reduced to a prop in his carefully curated life. The baby kicks again, harder this time. In that moment, watching Brandon disappear into his crowd of admirers, I make a decision. This isn't just about me anymore. This facade he's built, this house of cards he's stacked so carefully, it's time to watch it fall. I pull out my phone and scroll to Margaret's number, my mother-in-law. She's always said family comes first. Let's see how she feels about her son's version of family values. The morning after the party, I find Brandon in his home office, scrolling through social media while nursing a hangover. Empty coffee cups litter his desk, and the lingering scent of stale beer hangs in the air. I spent the night on that air mattress in the kitchen, listening to giggling and footsteps above me until dawn. Your mother called, I say, watching his shoulders tense. She wants to know why we haven't been to Sunday dinner in 2 months. Did you tell her anything? His eyes don't leave the screen. Just that we've been busy with your networking events. I lean against the doorframe. Though I did mention how thoughtful you were, letting your drunk friends use our bedroom while your pregnant wife slept on the kitchen floor. That gets his attention. He spins in his chair, jaw tight. You had no right. No right? Like you had no right to post those ultrasound photos without asking me? Or share details about my morning sickness with your 50,000 followers? He stands, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. Those posts got me a sponsorship deal with a baby product company. Do you know how valuable that is for my brand? Your brand. The words taste bitter. What about our child, Brandon? What about creating a real home instead of a content factory? This is how we maintain our lifestyle, Adeline. He gestures around the office. The house, the cars, the organic food you love so much, it all comes from my ability to stay relevant. A notification pings on his phone. His face lights up as he reads it. Perfect. Danielle just tagged me in her story about last night. Best host ever, always taking care of his friends while managing his growing family. See? This is gold. I notice something then, a slight flush when he mentions Danielle's name, the way his thumb lingers over her profile picture. How often does Danielle stay over after these parties? Don't start with that paranoid nonsense. He walks past me, deliberately brushing my shoulder. I have a lunch meeting. We'll talk about your conversation with my mother later. As he heads downstairs, I slip into his chair and wake his computer screen. His email is open, and there it is, a message from our mortgage company marked urgent, second notice. Below that, dozens of correspondence with Danielle, dating back months. Their subject lines mock me: late night planning session? After party details, just between us. My hands shake as I forward everything to my personal email. The baby kicks, harder than ever, as if urging me on. Brandon's perfect world is built on lies, and I'm holding the first loose thread. One pull, and it all comes apart. I hear his car start in the driveway. Time to make that call to Margaret again. This time, I'll tell her everything. Margaret's face on the video call turns ashen as I forward her the mortgage notices. Her hands shake while reading, each scroll revealing another layer of Brandon's deception. Behind her, I glimpse Charles pacing, his retirement watch glinting as he gestures in frustration. He's taken out 3 separate loans against the house, Margaret says, her voice tight. The payments. Adeline, these amounts are astronomical. I shift uncomfortably on our leather sofa, the one Brandon insisted we needed for his lifestyle content photos. There's more. As I share the emails between Brandon and Danielle, Charles stops pacing. That son of a. Charles, Margaret warns, but her own anger bleeds through. Adeline, why didn't you come to us sooner? A key turns in the front door. Brandon strides in, phone to his ear, laughing at something Danielle's probably said. He freezes when he sees me with the laptop. I'll call you back, he says, ending the call. His eyes narrow at the screen. What's going on? Hello, Brandon. Margaret's voice cuts through the speakers, sharp as steel. The color drains from his face. Mother? What? The refinancing papers just arrived at our house, Charles interrupts. Interesting, since we're listed as guarantors. Care to explain why our signatures are on documents we've never seen? Brandon's mask slips for just a moment before that practiced smile returns. Dad, it's a simple misunderstanding. I can explain everything. Like you can explain the $40,000 credit card debt? I stand, one hand protectively over my belly. Or the sponsored posts you're planning with Danielle about being a devoted family man? He steps toward me, voice dropping to a whisper. You had no right to go through my private. Private? I laugh, the sound harsh even to my ears. Like those private photos of my ultrasound appointments you shared with your followers? The intimate details of my pregnancy you sold to the highest bidder? Everything I did was for us. He runs his hands through his hair, messing up the careful styling. The sponsors, the networking, it's all about building our future. Your future, Brandon, Margaret cuts in. While you're building your brand, you're destroying your family. You don't understand modern business, Mother. Sometimes you have to. Forge documents? Charles's voice thunders through the speakers. Mortgage your pregnant wife's security for Instagram likes? Brandon's phone buzzes. He glances at it instinctively, always the slave to notifications. I catch Danielle's name on the screen before he can hide it. We're coming over, Margaret announces. All of us. Including Felicity. It's time for a proper family meeting about your choices, Brandon. The look he gives me promises retribution, but I'm beyond caring. Let him rage. Let him scheme. His carefully curated world is crumbling, and I'm finally ready to watch it fall. The silence in our house feels like a living thing, coiled and waiting. Brandon's been gone for hours since his family's call, probably crafting some elaborate explanation for his deceptions. I'm packing a bag when Lucas appears in the doorway, shifting nervously. Brandon sent me to get his laptop, he says, not quite meeting my eyes. Of course he did. I zip the bag closed. Damage control? Lucas steps inside, lowering his voice. He's at Danielle's place, planning some kind of counter-narrative. Something about you being unstable, pregnancy hormones making you paranoid. My hand's still on the zipper. And you're helping him? Actually. He pulls out his phone, showing me a series of messages. I've been documenting everything. The loans, the parties, the way he talks about you when you're not around. I thought maybe someday you'd use it against him? I was jealous, Lucas admits. His perfect life, his devoted wife. But watching him destroy it all, watching him hurt you. He hands me his phone. Take it. There's proof of everything, including deals he made using his parents' forged signatures. A notification pops up, Brandon's latest social media post. My heart stops as I read it, heartbroken to announce that my wife's mental health has taken a concerning turn. Please respect our privacy as we navigate this difficult time. Hashtag pray for Adeline, hashtag pregnancy mental health. The comments flood in, sympathy, support. People praising his bravery for speaking out. My hands shake as I scroll through thousands of strangers discussing my supposed breakdown. There's more, Lucas says quietly. The house. He's already listed it for sale. The paperwork went through yesterday. The room spins. Our home, the nursery I'd just finished painting, all of it sold without my knowledge or consent. My phone rings, Felicity. Don't react, she says before I can speak. Brandon's on his way home with Danielle. They're filming some sort of intervention video, making it look like they're trying to help you. He's got Trevor playing mediator, all set up to make you look unhinged if you fight back. The baby kicks hard, as if sensing my rising panic. But underneath it, something else builds, a cold, clear fury. Lucas, I say, how would Brandon's followers react to proof that their perfect family man is a fraud? They'd crucify him. Lucas's eyes widen. But he'd still have his family's money to fall back on. I think of those forged documents, the evidence in my hands. Not if his parents pressed charges. The front door opens downstairs. I hear Brandon's voice, practice concern for the camera, I just hope we can get through to her. I grip Lucas's phone tighter. Time to show everyone exactly who's having a breakdown. Margaret's living room feels like a war room, documents spread across her antique coffee table. Charles paces by the window, phone pressed to his ear as he speaks with their lawyer. Felicity sits cross-legged on the floor, methodically sorting through Lucas's evidence. He's scheduled another party for tonight, Felicity says, scrolling through Brandon's messages. The guest list includes 3 social media influencers who specialize in mental health advocacy. My throat tightens. He's building his narrative. Look at this. Margaret holds up a bank statement. The mortgage payments stopped 2 months ago, but there are weekly transfers to an account under Danielle's name. The baby kicks, and I press my hand against my side, trying to stay focused. How much? Enough to buy a small condo. Charles ends his call, his face grim. Which is exactly what they did. The deed was filed yesterday, both their names on it. The room tilts slightly. I grab the armrest of Margaret's Victorian chair, steadying myself. That's not all. Felicity turns her laptop toward me. They're launching a podcast together. Modern Family Crisis, supporting loved ones through mental health struggles. First episode drops tomorrow. A notification lights up everyone's phones simultaneously, Brandon's latest post. A photo of him looking concerned in our nursery, surrounded by the clouds and stars I'd painted myself. The caption reads, "Sometimes the ones we love need more help than they can admit. Standing strong for my family through these dark times." Hashtag mental health awareness, hashtag pregnancy crisis. "I'll kill him." Felicity starts to rise, but Margaret catches her arm. "We do this smart," Margaret says, her voice steel-wrapped silk. "Adeline, are you certain you want to go through with this? Once we start, there's no going back." I think of the nursery, my safe haven turned into his latest photo prop. Of the house he sold without my knowledge. Of nights spent on air mattresses while Danielle slept in my bed. "The lawyer says we have enough for criminal charges," Charles adds. "But it would mean public exposure. Everything would come out." My phone buzzes, a text from Trevor. "Brandon's telling everyone you're having a breakdown. Danielle's already writing a blog post about supporting her chosen family through your crisis. They're making you look unstable." I stand, one hand protectively over my belly. "Then let's show them what unstable really looks like." Felicity grins, sharp and dangerous. "I'll call Lucas. He can live stream the whole thing." "Remember," Margaret warns, "Brandon's desperate. Desperate people are dangerous." So am I. I pick up the stack of evidence. And unlike Brandon, I don't care anymore about keeping up appearances. The baby kicks again, stronger this time. Like a countdown to war. The party's in full swing when we arrive. Through the front window, I see Brandon holding court in our living room, Danielle at his side. Both of them performing concern for their live stream audience. 3 influential mental health advocates nod sympathetically as Brandon wipes away practiced tears. "Ready?" Felicity asks, phone already recording. Charles grips the folder of evidence. Margaret straightens her spine, every inch the family matriarch about to pass judgment. Lucas hovers nearby, his own stream connecting to thousands of Brandon's followers. I step through the door first. The music cuts off abruptly. Brandon's face flashes panic before settling into rehearsed worry. "Adeline, sweetheart," he starts, reaching for me with the camera rolling. "We're all here to help. Like you helped yourself to my nursery for your photo op?" My voice carries across the suddenly silent room. "Or like you helped yourself to your parents' signatures?" The mental health advocates exchange glances. One of them pulls out her phone, already sensing a different story unfolding. She's clearly distressed. Danielle steps forward, playing her part. "Brandon warned us about." "About what?" Margaret's voice cuts through the room like ice. "About forging our signatures? About the second mortgage? Or about the condo you two bought together?" Brandon's mask slips. "Mother, you don't understand." "Show them," I tell Lucas. He nods, projecting the evidence onto our living room wall: bank statements, forged documents. Private messages between Brandon and Danielle planning their podcast about my supposed breakdown. The advocates' phones are all out now, recording everything. Brandon lunges for the power cord, but Charles blocks his path. "Don't," Charles warns. "It's already streaming live." Brandon spins toward me, desperation replacing his careful composure. "You're ruining everything." "No," I say, watching his carefully constructed world crumble. "You did that yourself." Then Danielle makes her move, one I didn't expect. She grabs my arm, spinning me toward the crowd. Look at her. She's clearly unstable, attacking her loving husband who's only trying to help. The sudden movement, the twist, something tears inside me. Sharp pain rips through my abdomen. I gasp, doubling over. "Adeline?" Felicity drops her phone, rushing to my side. Warm liquid trickles down my legs. "Too soon. It's too soon." "Call an ambulance," Margaret commands, but her voice seems far away. Brandon stands frozen, cameras still rolling, as I sink to my knees. In this moment of crisis, he's still performing, still calculating how to spin this. The last thing I see before the world goes dark is Lucas's phone, still streaming everything to Brandon's followers. At least they'll all see exactly who he is now. If I survive to witness the fallout. The hospital fluorescent lights flicker as I wake to beeping monitors. Margaret grips my hand, her face drawn with worry. Through the window, I see Charles arguing with hospital security while Felicity films everything on her phone. The baby? My voice cracks. Stable, Margaret soothes. But they need to keep you both monitored. The stress triggered early labor contractions. The door bursts open. Brandon strides in, still camera ready, Danielle hovering behind him. My wife needs rest, he announces loudly, clearly performing for someone. Everyone out. Your wife, Lucas steps from the corner, phone raised, needs the truth. Tell them what you just tried to do, Brandon. Brandon's face tightens. I was protecting my family's interests. By trying to have her declared mentally incompetent? Lucas's voice shakes. I heard you at the nurse's station. Trying to get medical power of attorney while she was unconscious. The monitors beep faster. Margaret stands, positioning herself between Brandon and my bed. You don't understand, Brandon starts, but Lucas cuts him off. I understood perfectly when you asked me to backdate documents showing a history of instability. Just like I understood when you convinced me to help hide your financial schemes. Lucas turns to me. I'm sorry, Adeline. I should have spoken up sooner. You're ruining everything, Danielle hisses, stepping forward. We had a plan. A plan? Charles appears in the doorway, security guards behind him. Like the plan to sell my daughter-in-law's house out from under her? Or the plan to steal my grandchild's future? Brandon's mask finally cracks. Everything I did was to build something better. The connections, the influence, it would have given our child opportunities. Our child? I push myself up, ignoring the pain. You mean your prop? Your social media storyline. Your ticket to more followers. You never understood what it takes to succeed, he snarls, mask completely gone now. Living in that perfect little fantasy world where love conquers all. Wake up, Adeline. Love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't build empires. No, Margaret's voice cuts like steel. But it does build families. Something you clearly never learned. Security moves in, but Brandon's not finished. He grabs my medical chart, waving it like a weapon. One signature. That's all it would take to prove you're unfit. To give me control. Lucas's live stream catches everything, Brandon's rage, Danielle's scheming, the truth behind their carefully crafted lies. Thousands watch as Brandon's empire crumbles in real time. The baby kicks, strong and steady, as Brandon is escorted out. His last words echo down the hall, you'll regret this. All of you. But looking at my true family gathered around me, Margaret's strength, Charles's integrity, Felicity's fierce protection. Even Lucas's redemption, I know I won't regret a thing. Sometimes burning bridges lights the way forward. The divorce papers sit unsigned on Margaret's kitchen table while Felicity scrolls through her phone, reading the latest headlines. Brandon's empire hasn't just crumbled, it's been excavated, every lie exposed to sunlight. His sponsors are jumping ship, Felicity announces. The mental health advocates are particularly vocal about his attempted manipulation. I adjust my sleeping daughter in my arms, watching her tiny fingers curl around my thumb. She came early but fighting, just like her mother. There's something you should know, Margaret says, setting down her tea. About Brandon's Uncle James. Charles stiffens. Margaret. She needs to hear this. Margaret pulls out an old photo album. James was like Brandon, charismatic, ambitious, obsessed with appearances. He nearly bankrupted the family with his schemes, always chasing the next big thing. Eventually, he disappeared, leaving behind a trail of debt and broken relationships. Brandon's father, I realize. That's why Charles was so quick to spot the signs. History repeats, Charles says quietly. I thought I'd protected Brandon from becoming James, but maybe I just taught him to hide it better. A notification pings, Brandon's final social media post before his accounts go dark. Sometimes those closest to us become our greatest betrayers. The truth will emerge. #watch this space. Still threatening, still performing, Felicity scoffs. Even now. No, I say, understanding finally clicking. He's terrified. Without an audience, without followers, he doesn't know who he is anymore. The baby stirs, and I think about cycles, how they continue until someone chooses to break them. Brandon became his uncle, chasing validation through carefully curated lies. But this little girl won't inherit that legacy. Lucas appears in the doorway, holding a stack of documents. The forensic accountants found everything. Brandon's facing charges for the forgery and fraud. Danielle too. He hesitates. I'll be testifying against them both. Good, Margaret says firmly. Some bridges need to burn completely before we can build something better. I sign the divorce papers, my daughter still cradled in one arm. Each signature feels less like revenge and more like protection, not just for her, but for the truth itself. He'll try again, Charles warns. Men like Brandon, like James, they always find new audiences. Let him try. I close the photo album, hiding James's haunted eyes. But not with us. Not with her. Outside, spring sunlight breaks through clouds, casting shadows and light across Margaret's garden. My daughter wakes, her eyes finding mine with perfect clarity. In them, I see no trace of Brandon's performance, no hint of James's legacy. Just truth, pure and unfiltered. Sometimes that's the greatest revenge of all.